is on his way to the States actually right now. So my name is David. I work with Jay, and I really would like to welcome you all for this very, very special webinar. The Jerusalem Bird Observatory's 30th anniversary, with all the people who actually were there when it started and later on managed the place. So we have a really wonderful webinar for you tonight, and also a celebration in this very, very difficult days in Israel. And I'm passing on to Alena Kacal, who was the director of the JBO and still is very much connected to the place. So, Alena?
Hi, everyone. Welcome to our webinar. We're going to give people a couple minutes to come in. People are still logging on, but we'd be happy to hear from you. Let us know where you're logging in from today, where you're joining us from. Say hello, and we'll give people just a minute or so to join us before we get started. I know it's morning over in the US. Hi, Barbara from Newton. Someone's joining us from Norway. Fantastic. Welcome. All the people on the East Coast West Coast who might be just getting up, I think. Losing track of timing here. New Mexico, UK, Toronto. Welcome from Toronto. It's always great to see people, even from Modi'in. Shalom, shalom. Pennsylvania, Wales. Love Wales myself. Munich, fantastic. So as people are logging on from all over the world, my name is Alena Kacal. I'm the Director of Tourism for BirdLife Israel, which is part of the Society for the Protection of Nature in Israel, which I will refer to as SPNI from now on. So welcome to one of the regular SPNI webinars. Today we are going to be celebrating the 30th birthday of the Nili and David Jerusalem Bird Observatory. I had the pleasure of working there many, many years until just a couple years ago. And I'm being joined today by Amir Balaban, one of the founding directors of the JBO, and Yoav Perlman, the director of BirdLife Israel, who was involved from the very beginning. His brother was Dr. Gideon Perlman, was also one of the founding directors of the JBO. And a little later, we'll be joined by Yotam Bashan, who is the current director of the JBO. So you'll get a nice spread of the years with all of us. Jay sends his regards. I believe he's on a plane stateside or headed to the States to meet some of you there, and said to say hello. We've had a difficult weekend here in Israel with several soldiers lost over the weekend. I passed one of the funerals on the way home. But even in these difficult times, we need to find, as David said, the times to celebrate the small and large things in our lives so that we can survive and get through. And also, we've been very much aware how much nature is healing, and SPNI has done a lot of work over the last 8 months to bring nature into your living rooms, bring people into nature and give people a chance to breathe and experience the healing power of nature. And nowhere better than the Jerusalem Bird Observatory, which we are going to talk about today. So welcome and thank you. Yoav, do you want to say a couple words just in greeting before we get started?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great pleasure to be here with everyone, all the supporters from around the world. Everyone who has visited physically the JBO knows what a special place it is for birds and for people. And it's a great pleasure for myself, for Amir, you, Alan, and Yotam to present some of the work that's being done there. But webinar is one thing, but if you haven't visited the JBO yet, please come and visit us as soon as possible. So let's get the show rolling.
Fantastic. So I'm going to share the screen slideshow on a second, and we'll let Amir get started. Just a second, I did something wrong there. You recognize that
normally good. I recognize the photograph. I don't recognize the person anymore, but yeah.
Okay, hang on a second. There's something weird going on with my presentation here. 1 second.
You can start working on the presentation. I'll start speaking.
Yeah. Okay.
I'd like to welcome everybody to this webinar. I'm not in perfect condition for this webinar. I'm in the middle of reserve duty, so you know, it's a part of the atmosphere we're in right now. But nevertheless, I think the JBO has always been a story of optimism and seizing the moment. And you know, when I think about the JBO, the Nili and David Jerusalem Bird Observatory, from now on we'll call it the JBO. It's all about seizing the moment, and I don't know, everybody in their lifetime reaches a moment where there is an opportunity. The big question is, will you seize the moment? Will you identify it as a decisive moment? And in the 23rd of April, 1994, few young lads, Yoav Perlman, myself, and Yoav and Carmel, 4 young lads ringing for our own pleasure and curiosity in a neglected part of the Rose Garden in the soccer park. We caught a bird carrying a ring from Stockholm. This is a picture of Gidon and myself. And this is our whoa,
Sorry.
hold on.
Yeah,
No, you can go to that is the moment, and you can see Gidon holding this beautiful little brown job called a lesser white-throat, and actually Carmel and his twin brother, which I forgot his name,
Aviv,
were with us. And this is the old gardener's hut where we actually sheltered in the shade. And below that, you can see my little coffee box where I make my coffee when I go bird ringing or bird watching or photography. And we never expected that this morning would be such an amazing morning. And we were so excited that when we caught this little bird that we decided that this will be the place where we will protect migratory birds on their way from Africa to Europe and from Europe to Africa twice a year. And of course, all the wintering birds and the summer birds that breed in Jerusalem. We did not imagine the voyage that we will embark on. First of all, imagine the naivety of Gidon and myself believing that the state of Israel will allocate 1.5 acres of prime real estate just by the Knesset for the protection, for the benefit of migratory birds. And we were so naive that, you know, we sent letters, we got no reply. But, you know, we have a heritage in Israel that if you believe in something, nothing will stop you. And we were very young and energetic. And so that's what we did. You see this little hut, which is to this day our Ariel research station, ringing station, became our focus. And very soon we got a key from a very friendly person in the municipality. And before even, don't tell anybody, before getting the proper permits, we already raised money and managed to start renovating this building. And this is actually the big window where we actually showcase our ringing session. This is myself, 25 kilos lighter and with much more hair on my crest. And it was a very, 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 very exciting time for us to renovate and design the ideal research station. And we had amazing partners, first of all, from the community. Many of Jerusalem's English speakers and Anglophiles took part as volunteers and helpers and workers. And this is when Alena joined us. She just immigrated to Israel, and she heard about this place where birds are being researched, and she came and joined us. This is the first year we operated the Ariel ringing station. Look at the wood; it's all nice, new and fresh, smelling of fresh pine. And you can see in this picture how we combined research and art. You can see our first outdoor exhibition on the bird hide. And this was a really exciting time because we actually developed the modus operandi, the MO of a community urban wildlife site, combining research, education, community work, arts, all together, and bringing in people from all walks of life. And this is something really, really unique, and Elena will elaborate on this, because the first magic when you arrive to the JBO are beautiful birds, but the second thing is the beautiful people who are really, really excited about birds. And once we started learning about the birds and what they need, we decided to create a management program. And here you can see three members of our team: Philip, who's a musician from Australia; Eran Bunker, our first national service soldier that joined us, an educational officer; and one of the younger people, probably my son, helping to fill the first pond that we created in the JBO. And you must understand, and this was a novelty for us in SPNI and in the JBO, the love for wetlands. And I'm sure you've joined our rewilding webinars. This is done big time now by SPNI. And here you can see the first pond and the first bird feeder. And we used to fill it manually. It was ridiculous, but the birds just loved it. And the people in the bird hide even loved it more. So this was the first baby steps of an urban research station that taught us how to nurture nature and people together. And a beautiful couple came to visit us from New Jersey. I don't know if Danielle Neiman is with us tonight, this morning for you, if you're in the States, with her husband Larry, and they sat with us and watched the birds in the little pond. And they asked us, guys, we love what you're doing. What do you need? And we told them, listen, we need a proper wildlife pond. And they said, well, we're going to make your wish come true. And you must understand, a lot of our achievements are based on support from people who love nature and might not have time to work for nature on a daily basis. But the Neiman Pond is one of the most beautiful examples where we invested their help in creating a natural infrastructure. And these are the first days. By the way, Yara, the girl on the bottom right picture on the left side, today works as in SPNI as a specialist, a GIS specialist, geographical information system. And she has two beautiful daughters, and it's amazing. She came as a volunteer to the JBO to work a whole year with us before her army service. Next. Next. Oh, and this is the pond after 10 years. And like good wine, wetlands mature, become more elaborate, and this is the scene in the center of Jerusalem. So with a little bit of water, a little bit of concrete, a lot of vegetation, and a lot of tender loving care, we create this habitat for birds, and people just love it. Tons of photographers, thousands of students have pass through our hide. If you count an annual a number of 50,000 visitors to the JBO, you reach enormous amounts of people who come and learn how to observe, watch, enjoy birds. Next. And we just a minute before the people, Alena. This is the last slide I'm going to talk about. The previous slide. You see these little fruits on the branches. Can we see the previous slide, Alena?
Yeah, hang on.
Alan.
There you go.
While we enjoy the birds, we are also obliged to decipher the biological secrets. And these are two of our secrets. Apparently, the Mediterranean woodland and scrub supply an abundant amount of fruit during spring and fall. And this is the way the Mediterranean woodland disperses its seeds via birds. And this lesson learned in the JBO enable us now to help migratory birds by planting the trees they need for their migratory route. They need this energy, and our work today is focused on preserving and enhancing this secret. And all of you, Jerusalemites from all over Israel and from abroad, when you come to us, if you come from November onward, this is what we do. We plant birds. We plant plants for birds. And now over to you, Ellen, to tell about our second major secret, and that's the people that make up the JBO.
Oh, hang on a second, Amir, because there's one more aspect, so I'm going to come back to you. But yes, we do a lot of work on site to make the bird observatory even richer for the birds and increase the biodiversity. And so much of that is based on our work with volunteers of all ages, from all aspects of the community, as you can see. And I'm going to go back to you, Amir, to just talk about this last section of the history here.
An interesting story about the final stage of the renovation of the JBO. About 10 years ago, a nice couple came into the JBO and they were wondering if they could help us. Well, nothing came out of it, but a few years later, one of the sons of this nice Jerusalemite couple came in and told us that they want to commemorate their parents. And I remembered that they came over to the JBO, and I suggested them to maybe invest in the JBO, and we offered them, three kind of options: very small and something humble to commemorate their parents, a bench and more, or maybe a new habitat. And we also told them that we need an endowment fund. And to our surprise, they decided to go for an endowment fund. And they asked to stay anonymous. And if you were wondering why the JBO is called the Nili and David, Jerusalem Bird Observatory, is to commemorate this very nice, humble, nature-loving couple that came to visit us, and their family decided to commemorate them with this endowment fund that helped us through the hardest time you can imagine. Through Corona, COVID, and now through the war. And it's not that we're, making bundles of money, but it helps us through hard times. And hard times have come and gone, and we hope they will go again. But again, I must emphasize the help of so many good people. And it's not only financial, it's the time, it's the effort, it's the energy, it's the good energy that people bring about, and so on.
Thanks, Amir. And in the photograph that you're seeing now, one of the buildings that we inherited on the site, I remember this building well, was a little gardener shed full of mice and asbestos on the roof and all sorts of stuff. And we were able in the last decade, how long ago is it now? 12, 13 years, maybe longer, to renovate it into the new visitor center where visitors can come. There's a shop and an art gallery. We were just there today opening a new exhibition of photographs by Karen Benzian. And that was a wonderful day at the JBO. This is our opening day. And one of the special things about this building is we call it our living building. So a lot of what we do at the JBO is experimental. We're trying new ideas out. Some of them work, some of them don't work so well. But then the things that work, we're able to take them and put them to use in other sites. We become like a laboratory. So one of the first things that we did with this building is we created a living roof. And you can see here, this is the roof of the visitor center. It's planted with hundreds of seeds of local flowers. And in spring, it's a fantastic source, covered in flowers, fantastic source of food for insects and birds and so on. Hang on a second. So we have three main goals at the Bird Observatory that sort of guide our work and have guided our work through the years. And the first and foremost is research. Now, Yoav is going to talk a little bit more about that in a little while. But we are a research station. We conduct bird ringing sessions throughout the year, or bird banding as it's known in America, where we are tracking the birds, catching them to see what birds are coming, the migration, tracking trends through the years. But because we're located smack in the middle of Jerusalem, we have this unique opportunity, which not many ringing stations in the world have, of being right where people are. And so we've invited the community to come and participate with us. And the Bird Observatory, the ringing station, was built in such a way, as you can see, to create a little bit of an amphitheater. So classes, kindergartens, schools, teachers, you name it, can come and learn with us about the birds and migration and basically what's in their own backyard. And Yoav will talk more about what it is that we have learned. But this opportunity to have people communicate with us and to participate with the birds right in front of them, it catches people's imagination, and there's no end to where we can go with that. So education becomes our second milestone, or the pillar on which we are built. We see, as Amir said, something like 50,000 visitors a year on a good year that come to our organized programs for schools, for families, etc. There's probably another 50 to 60,000 people who just walk through the site on any given day. And our staff is there to welcome them, show them around, and help them to appreciate what's there. And we get visitors from all the different aspects of Israeli society. We have Arab schools coming, ultra-Orthodox schools coming, which we're very happy for. Many of these schools do not have science in their curriculum, so when they visit the JBO, they're getting hands-on science that they don't necessarily get anywhere else. And of course, art is one of the greatest ways to expose people to nature. Not only, I always tell someone, if you want to really get to know a bird, try to draw it, because you're going to have to take another look. Where did that color go? How long is the tail? What does it actually look like? And so Amir offers these sketching workshops. He's a great artist. If you haven't seen his stuff, it's all over the JBO. We offer sketching workshops to people of all ages. We have an art gallery that it features anything from ceramics to photographs to pictures, and it's a great way to see nature through the eyes of the artist, and maybe think of things in a little bit of a different way than you may have seen before. And no, there are no spiders this size as far as I know in the world, but it definitely caught imagination of our little guys when it was around. We invest a lot of time and money in our youth. So whenever we have a class that comes, and there's always that one kid who has a twinkle in their eye, who asks a lot of questions, and you can see that they are very interested. We, as we say, we try to catch them as well, and we give them the information for our after school programs and our summer programs, and get them involved. And here you see two a brother and sister who started out with us in our summer camp program about 20 something years ago. They are now adults, and still involved as academics, and working in the field with birds in Israel. Sorry. And one of the things that we do is we run an after-school program for kids, but we also do things like have an annual conference for youth in birding, where they actually give the lectures. So they can give lectures on any topic they want, without us adults getting in the way. And it's very, very empowering, and a fantastic program that we offer. I also spend a lot of time trying to promote women in bird watching, especially in the profession of bird banding or any other profession that's connected with birding. And here we have our first all-women birding team a few years ago, which I was very proud of. We know that women are underserved or underrepresented in the top layers of birding here in Israel. And so I spend a lot of time with that, organizing the first women's conference here in Israel. This was before Corona, and we've done it a couple of times since. We also, the third pillar is conservation. So all the work that we do with research feeds gives us the information we need in order to conserve the nature around us. And we start, of course, at the Bird Observatory, being the first place that we start. But early on in 2009, we worked with the city of Jerusalem to do an urban nature survey, where we surveyed every little or big green space within the city limits of Jerusalem, and tried to figure out what was there as far as botany and zoology and hydrology, etc., in order to help the city figure out how best to use the land, and to maybe guide them into thinking what land needed to be conserved. And that was so successful that cities around the country asked to also have an urban wildlife survey done. And now Amir is the director of the urban wildlife unit of SPNI, where they work with municipalities all over the country on trying to figure out what's there and how to conserve what they have. And one of our projects here in Jerusalem that came out of this, but also came out of our work at the JBO, was the conservation of this piece of land called the Gazelle Valley Park. You can see here the beginnings of this of the park. And I won't go into the story there because we've done webinars just on the park, and I'm happy to share that with you later. We also were concerned with the international aspect of conservation. So many of the birds that pass through the JBO are dwindling in numbers. Yoav is probably going to talk to that in his section. But we know that so many of the birds that pass through us are going on into areas north of us. These birds are birds that were shot in Lebanon on migration, and we wanted to do something about that. So we joined with the BirdLife Israel's project Champions of the Flyway, and since the very beginning have sent teams to participate in Champions of the Flyway and to raise money to help with international conservation around the world, including teams of kids and encouraging women to participate as well. And this is my team from last year winning the prize for the most money raised for the competition. Corona gave us a unique opportunity to get into a new aspect that we hadn't done before. We suddenly found ourselves shut down with no volunteers and no visitors. So we decided to take to the internet, to go online and start offering webinars that could bring nature into people's living rooms and connect us with the community that couldn't get to the JBO, especially elderly people who were stuck at home. This opened up a whole new layer of community that we hadn't had before. And I think we actually grew the community through these webinars in Hebrew and English, and carried us through until we could come back together and be together in person again. And of course, we learned so much from this that when the war started, the day after that horrible Shabbat, we were on the air again, bringing some comfort and breathing space to families around the country. And we are still doing that to today. And we owe so much to the volunteers, young and old, who have worked with us throughout the years. It's a great space to come. You can be there with on any given day with Orthodox and non-Orthodox and secular and Christians and Arabs and kids and senior citizens all working together with one thing in mind, and that is conservation, birds, and community. And just some pictures. This is Independence Day. Some of our national service volunteers. And of course, we owe so much to our donors throughout the years who have given not just support, but so much of their dollars to help us keep the dream alive and keep the dream going. And now I'm going to pass you on to Yoav to give us a little background on what's going on with the birds and the research at the JBO.
Okay. Thanks, Ellen. Can you see my presentation? Okay. So again, I'm Yoav Perlman. I'm Director of BirdLife Israel. And I will talk today about 30 years of bird study at the Jerusalem Bird Observatory. My presentation isn't happening. Okay. So yeah, Amir talked about the early days, how this habitat, this stopover site in the middle of the city of Jerusalem was protected and still is protected. And this is really, really the basic layer of the JBO, the habitat. Look at this beautiful Mediterranean scrub habitat in the middle of the city that function as a vital stopover site for huge numbers of birds. And what we do at the JBO is to study them, to understand them, and to use this information to better protect the birds in Jerusalem and other places in the world as well. My presentation is moving a bit slow. Okay. Our very, very, very basic activity at the JBO, really our bread and butter, is bird ringing, bird banding, using mist nets. And the important aspect of our work is that from the very, very start, only a few years after starting to work on the ground, it was understood that we need to work using a standardized effort. And we have been using a very, very strict protocol since 1997. That means that we have almost 30 years of data that we can work with, and we actually work with those data. So the nets are set up exactly at the same place, the same number of hours, same number of nets. So that's how the effort is standardized. And the person who's responsible for the very, very rigid protocol is my brother Gidon. Since the very early days of the JBO, he was very, very clear about how the professional work needs to be done. And that protocol is kept to our days now. Sadly, Gidon, because of his physical condition, cannot present the information here, but he should have been here with us. Amir was always getting in Gidon's way, being unprofessional where he could be, but usually was quite all right. Amir was always on the more artistic side of things, and Gidon had to put him back on the more scientific way. But yeah, they were really a power couple since the very start, sort of pushing barriers in how much we can learn and how much we can understand about the birds at the JBO. Okay. So as I said, we have long time series of birds running all the way back. And with these series, we're looking at trends. We're trying to look how birds change over time, how bird populations have changed over time, understanding the importance of the JBO as a stopover site. That means that when we monitor birds at the JBO, we actually give a very broad picture of what is happening in populations. For instance, populations of the black-cap that breeds across Europe, from Western Central Europe to Western Asia. And we monitor them at the JBO. And the numbers of them seem to be very, very stable. Maybe even a slight increase, but more or less stable. And what we do with these trends, with these long-term trends, is try to link them with, for instance, climate change. Some species certainly aren't doing well, and it can be related to climate change as well. And other species like the black-cap are doing okay. So black-cap is the most commonly ringed bird every year. So at the JBO, an average of about 10,000 birds are ringed every year, more or less, between 10 and 12,000 in recent years. And almost half of that is black-cap. It really is a massive, massive migrant. So these numbers are meaningful. Another sort of important species at the JBO is the lesser white-throat. That's the second commonest species ringed at the JBO, several thousands every year. Amir talked about the first one that carried a ring from Sweden, and every bird carrying a ring, an individual ring, gives us an individual story, like this lesser white-throat carrying a ring from Hungary. But then when you compile all of the different recoveries of lesser white-throats from the JBO, it can really be understood, not necessarily where they migrate, but at least where they're being recovered. It is possible that many of the lesser white-throats at the JBO continue further east, but there aren't any or hardly any ringing projects in Russia and farther east. So this is as far as we know, according to ringing recoveries. And you see slowly the information is building up, and you can see a bias towards Northwestern Europe and Scandinavia, in the Low Countries, even several in the UK. We use our data also to track trends of our local birds. Okay, so we monitor the birds year-round, and we look at our breeding birds as well, and we try to understand how successful is their breeding. We try to understand how is the survival of the adults, what are the survival rates of the adults. And using those data, we can try to understand the different pressures that our breeding birds face, land use changes at the JBO, around the JBO, in Jerusalem and around Jerusalem, and try to better protect the breeding habitats in the city. Out of the scientific work that we do at the JBO, several publications have come. Every few years, we have a new publication looking at different species, different phenomena that we see with different collaborations. And we keep on trying to publish as much as we can, as much as possible, to share our knowledge with other sites, with other stopover sites, with other organizations managing stopover sites for birds. Now I'll present some of our birds, not all of the bird species. There have been several hundreds of species of birds ringed at the JBO over the years, but I'll showcase a few of them. Maybe the most special, or the specialty of the JBO, is this unassuming species, the olive tree warbler. The JBO is probably the best place in the world to watch olive tree warblers. They migrate in spring from the last week of April through the first half of May. And probably there's no other place in the world with such a large number of olive tree warblers, a couple of hundreds, or between 150 and 200 every year. This year was a pretty good year for them. There are days with 20, 22 in one morning, one ringing session, and they're wonderful birds. They have a very limited breeding range. They breed in Southeast Europe and Western Asia, and they winter in Africa. So it's a great place to monitor their global population. Another special species that we get in good numbers, probably more than anywhere else in the world, is the Eastern Bonelli's warbler, another small warbler. You'll see that we have a strong warbler theme at the JBO because of the scrubby habitat. Okay, so trees and bushes, that's what our warblers like, and that's what we usually catch with our mist nets. And the JBO really is a Sylvia heaven, or a warbler heaven. I just wanted to note all of the pretty photos in this presentation are by Yosef Kiat. So these close-ups are by Yosef Kiat. He's the head of our ringing center, and he has been ringing with us at the JBO for many, many years. And he really is a master in photographing birds in the hand. The beautiful subalpine warbler on the left and rupels on the right, two March or early April visitors at the JBO, slightly more scarce. Another big attraction at the JBO is the barred warbler. Amir talked about the mulberry trees, so we have several mulberry trees at the JBO, and these barred warblers love mulberries, and we catch good numbers of them in late spring when they pass through. They feed on the mulberries, and a small portion of them gets caught. In Hebrew, they're called hawk warbler or sparrowhawk warbler. Look at the yellow eyes and the bars on the underparts. Very, very beautiful, very large warblers, stopping at the JBO on their way to their northern breeding range in Scandinavia and farther east. And we get a unique opportunity because of the large number of barred warblers we catch to study them closely, to understand their molt, how they change their feathers, and also how their eye color changes during the year. And the bottom right are the younger birds, and top left are the adult birds. You can see how the eye color changes as they mature. Again, this image has been created by Yosef. He really does this great visualization. Another nice warbler we catch quite rarely is the Cyprus warbler. It's an endemic breeding species in Cyprus, and they're pretty rare migrants through Israel and not common at the JBO. So it's always nice to catch one. We usually catch them in the end of autumn at the JBO. This one was caught in October last year. Yeah, and the JBO really is a special place for flycatchers. We have 3 species of black and white flycatchers. And the JBO was probably one of the best places in Israel and maybe in the world to see the 3 species together. So these are the 3 species, semi-colored, pied, and colored. These are the males. The females are browner. Semi-colored, again, has a very limited breeding range in Southeast Europe. Pied is quite a widespread European species, and colored more of a Central Eastern European species. And all 3 species meet at the JBO. Spring is their time, April mainly. Sometimes we have very nice migration falls of them with many tens in the area, and many of them get caught as well. And they look so beautiful, each one of them. And it's amazing to see them together. Common redstart is an interesting species. We have 2 populations migrating through Israel, through the JBO. The one on the left, check this white patch on the wing. It belongs to the southeastern population that breeds in the Balkans and in Turkey. And the one without the white on the ring is a Central European bird. And it's interesting that the trends of these 2 populations are contrasting. The birds from the Balkans are declining quite fast. We're seeing smaller and smaller numbers of them, both in spring and in autumn. And the one on the right, the European one, the European subspecies, seems to be maintaining its numbers quite well. At least that's what we see at the JBO. European nightjar is another fantastic species that stops over at the JBO. We open the nets very early, so we need to have the nets open at first light before dawn. So we start usually opening the nets an hour and a half before dawn. And usually that's the time when we catch nightjars, sometimes 4 or 5 nightjars in one morning. They're very, very beautiful birds. Sometimes when we want to let them go, we place them on this log and they just go to sleep. Very, very unique opportunity to see them up close, and they're fantastic birds, again, long distance migrants. Golden orioles are mulberry junkies as well. They get attracted to our mulberry trees, and we catch these beautiful, beautiful birds, usually in late April and in May. That's a bright male. The females are greener. Very, very attractive birds, of course, on their way to Central Europe. Wryneck is another very, very special bird. It's one of the 2 representatives of the woodpecker family in Israel. We have the Syrian woodpecker that looks like more of a traditional woodpecker, and the wryneck, very, very special bird with amazing plumage, camouflage colors, and this interesting behavior of wriggling the neck. Very, very beautiful birds, and always crowd pleasers, crowd favorites. We monitor birds year round, and of course we look at our wintering birds, and indeed in Jerusalem, actually, one can actually feel the winter. There's snow usually once or twice a year. Yes, with climate change, the winters are becoming milder and there's less and less proper weather, but still, Jerusalem is nice and cold in winter and attracts large numbers of winter birds. And it's nice to study the finches, some of them familiar European species, siskin and chaffinch and brambling and hawfinch. All are common in winter at the JBO, and it's lovely to study them when they come to visit us. Over the years, of course, we have found some incredible birds at the JBO. This is only a small selection of the national rarities that have showed up at the JBO. Of course, there have been many more. The second eye-browed thrush for Israel was caught in 2007. Last year was the first paddy-field warbler, first for the JBO, still a very rare bird in Israel. Green warbler, another rare Philoscopus. A few years ago, it was ringed. Sadly, there was no one with a proper camera that day, so not the best photo, but still a very, very good bird, breeding in Turkey and the Caucasus. Yellow-browed warbler, maybe not that rare, but a very, very attractive late autumn species. We love them, very beautiful Siberian gems. Eurasian woodcock is a funny one. They're not that rare in Israel. In winter, they don't breed here. They just come for the winter. They are very, very cryptic and very nocturnal, so we hardly ever see them anywhere in Israel. Also in Jerusalem, they do spend the winter in small numbers. It's very hard to catch them. This, I think, is only the second ever caught at the JBO. It was caught last year. Very special birds and very beautiful. This is Chaim. He's the main ringer currently at the JBO. He does most of the ringing. Look how pleased he is with Levant sparrowhawks that we caught this spring. Beautiful, beautiful migrant sparrowhawks that pass through in nice numbers in spring, and some of them fly between the nets and get caught. Look at the big smile Chaim has on the right. Really fantastic birds. So the JBO is not only about ringing. Many birders are attracted to the JBO, especially in spring, but not only, year-round. This is the hotspot page from eBird, and you can see how much data has been collected by 599 eBirders at the JBO over the years. 232 species have been recorded on eBird. Probably there are a few more that didn't go on eBird, but really it's a wonderful place to just come and watch birds. But it's important to collect the data on eBird so we can use it. Some of the special birds seen at the JBO over the years were oriental turtle dove. There were a few of them. White-throated robin, we like to call them Irania, another rare migrant. This one is from 2016. Very, very beautiful male. Another very important aspect of our professional work is the training work that we do for ringing. The JBO is really our school of bird ringing, and we train ringers from a very young age, and we train adults as well. This is Gabriel. You'll see him in a few more slides. He's one of our most avid young volunteers. He's, I think, 13 now. Amazing skills and amazing knowledge. He's really one of the hot shots. And Kineret, Chaim, and Asaf, during the training course that they did here at the JBO, we do a more advanced training as well. We train young ringers to become professional ringers and independent ringers, and we do different training courses. We did and we still do capacity building courses for our neighbors. SPNI insists on maintaining cross-border collaboration with our neighbors. It's never easy, and now, of course, during the war, it's even more challenging, but we do our best to reach out to our neighbors and to invite them to come to the JBO to learn how to manage urban wildlife sites, how to manage stopover sites, how to monitor birds. These are Palestinian partners that came a few years ago to come and learn how to set up a ringing station. And they did indeed went on and set up a ringing station in Jericho and Bethlehem. And we're proud to have helped them train at the JBO. Yeah, and I'll try to look ahead and what's next for the JBO. We are now working on different collaborations that we want to start up at the JBO. On top of the ringing that we do, we want to take the JBO to the next level. And with Yosef is now a staff member at the Tel Aviv University, and our new bird lab is waiting for Yosef and for his postdocs. Currently, the tables are empty, but I hope that when the academic year starts in October, we'll see more bird study for conservation applied scientific work happening from our bird lab. Another direction that we're developing now is to use more advanced technologies to track our birds to complement the ringing and the observations. Currently, the first MOTUS system has been set up with a collaboration with the University of Haifa at our the sister ringing station in Eilat, the IBRCE. This spring, for the first year, we set up the system, and the first birds are carrying tags. You can see the tags are very small with this very thin antenna. That's a thrush nightingale. And we are interested to set up this system also at the JBO. So if anyone has a spare motor system that they want to donate to us, we'll be very happy to set it up at the JBO. Yeah, that's the end of my presentation. Of course, well, first of all, thank you, all the participants here, for supporting, for listening, and huge thanks to all of the ringers, and especially the volunteers and the young volunteers, the adult volunteers that help us do the work. Most of the work at the JBO, the professional work, is done by volunteers. So amazing work, and thank you to everyone involved. That's it.
Thank you, Yoav. We do have one question. Sydney wanted to know how many species are permanent residents in Israel.
Okay, in Israel, there are about 210 regularly breeding species. I would say 150 of them are common enough.
And altogether, the list is about, what is it now, 545?
560, 570, yeah.
Well, it keeps going up. But that includes rarities that have only been seen a couple times. But still, Israel is a great place to come, instead of gallivanting all over Europe to see the European birds, one here, two here, whatever. Come to Israel in the spring, and you'll stand a good chance of getting a nice list. Which leads me to, the invitation. We know this is a tough time, and that not a lot of groups are coming through Israel, but everybody is invited to stop by the JBO anytime you're around. You can always give us a buzz and let us know that you're coming, and we'll look out for you. We are BirdLife Israel, in collaboration with the JBO and with Eilat and other birding sites in Israel. We are offering a English birding trips and more general nature trips throughout the year. So you're welcome to come and participate and join us at any time. And let me just, I thought I saw a question come in. Oh, it was thank you from Sydney. You're welcome, Sydney. I will send an email to the group chat that you can contact, and we will forward any questions you might have on to the appropriate people. So feel free to send us. And of course, if you would like to continue helping us to reach our new dreams and new goals, we always welcome first of all, volunteers, but also your donations, small or large. We help us to keep reaching out to the kids and keep reaching out to the community, but also to do the research and conservation work that we have been engaged in the last 30 years. We have seen this disturbing figures coming out recently about the decrease in biodiversity numbers around Israel, including the numbers of birds. This is not a trend that's just here in Israel, it's all over the world. And we're doing our part to keep common birds common, as well as to help continue to keep sites available for the migrating birds as they come through. We say that they're probably our most important tourists that we have coming through the country on any given year. Any more questions? Feel free to send. Someone's asking about the high bar. The high bar is part of the National Parks Authority. I'm not quite sure what their volunteer procedures are, but you can contact me and I can try to give you a contact number there. And Wendy, you said you'll be in Jerusalem next Sunday. Give us a call and we'll connect with you. Yoav, Amir, last words.
Thank you very much for attending this webinar. It's been a pleasure. I went through the names, Yael Chaver and many other, David Aborn, a lot of familiar people and friends. So it's great to have you with us, and hope to see you in the JBO.
Yotam Bashan, the current director, sends his apologies. He got caught in a bad traffic jam heading home and did not get home until just now. So he will join us another time, or you can come and see him at the JBO anytime you're around. So thank you everybody for joining us. It's been a pleasure, and till next time, take care. Have a good day, night, and week.
Thank you. Shalom.